Hey everyone, I hope you had a good day today. Hopefully, you kept a positive mindset, looking for the silver lining in all situations, and praising God for all the blessings you see throughout your day. Hopefully, you didn't allow the devil to tempt you out of your energy of positivity. He'll use the closest people in our lives, the closest places in our lives, and the things we love in our lives to get us out of that Christ-like character. It's really easy to take up other things' energy, right? Example being, if somebody's always angry, belligerent, stomping around and yelling, it's going to agitate you. You're going to start getting agitated with that anger as well. Maybe start stomping around and barking orders at everybody else as well. So hopefully you're not allowing the devil to tempt you out of that Christ-like character with jealousy, gossip, envy, covetousness, whatever it is, right? There's so many different energies we can take up. So hopefully you're reflecting upon how you feel, how you think, and moving according to what God is instructing you to do. I know not everybody's angry. I know everybody's not covetousness or so forth, right? But there's times where people can get you into that energy. So hopefully you're guarding yourself so you don't fall for that devil's temptation. Now, I want to thank everyone who shows me love and support over my Facebook, my Instagram, and now my YouTube, all at Cindy Lou Who. That's CyndyLuewho. I greatly appreciate you guys, and I ask, share these videos. Help get the gospel to the whole world as Christ asked us to do. And if you'd like to support me with this mission, well, my Cash App information is CindyLou1234. But let's dive into lesson. Today it's entitled Moses is Born. Let's see what it says. Now we're looking at Exodus 2 verses 1 through 10, and it's about Moses's birth, right? And how God provided protection and guidance in the background, right? Because we see that Moses, well, he was born at a rather thrilling time in history. He was born during the time of that famous Egyptian 18th dynasty. One king during this dynasty, Thutmose III, was called Napoleon of Egypt, and he's considered one of the most famous Egyptian pharaohs. Under that death decree at his birth, Moses was born as a special son, and in Hebrew, he was identified as Tob, T-O-B. Now, that term describes more than just external beauty. It's a word used, for example, in characterizing God's work during creation weeks, when he declared everything was good, even very good, in Genesis 1 verses 4, 10, and 31. So what we see is that this new creation, that good child, would be God's messenger, right? Everything was going according to God's plan because God understood that as an adult, he would be working for God. God put him in this place because under these dire circumstances, it was the best possible outcome, right? God will fulfill his words to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That covenant made with them, that their descendants would have the promised land, well, it will be fulfilled with Moses' help, right? Leading the Hebrews to the promised land as an adult. But until then, that Egyptian princess adopted Moses as her son and gave Moses an Egyptian name, meaning son of or born of, as reflecting the name of Amos, as Moshe, mainly meaning to be drawn out, right? Because his life was miraculously spared as he was drawn out of the river, right? So she gave him the name to reflect his situation at birth. Now, we don't know a lot of things about Moses' upbringing. We do know for the first 12 years, he was raised by his biological family, right? That young sister showed up and said she knew a wet nurse to feed him, and they allowed him to then live with his family and be raised by his family for those first 12 years. And what we see in Patriarchs and Prophet is that Mrs. White states Moses then received the best Egyptian education, all in order to prepare him to be the next Pharaoh of Egypt. So that's pretty fascinating, right? God made sure he got the best education to be the best leader possible, but not for the Egyptians, for God and his divine mission here on earth. He knew that even against all odds, that Moses would lead the people to the promised land. And by doing so, he will show everyone God's authority, God's divine guidance, and God's protection, right? So the knowledge of God and the truth about God will be known to everyone, right? Egypt was the seat of power at the time. So for them to acknowledge that there's something greater than their pagan gods, well, that's what God was wanting. And that's what Moses fulfilled in the end, right? Hopefully you're having that connection with God, just like Moses did, through prayer, reading scripture, so you're educated just like he was, and then meditating over all of it, right? Pondering, how shall I move? How shall I take this education, this counsel and wisdom to apply it to my life to move accordingly? Hopefully you're doing just that. That way the devil can't use anything of this world to stop you from walking your divine path. But I'll talk to you guys later.